Good morning, Tehmeena Khan is here with the video number 5 on paper 1 O-level mathematics tricky questions, or you can call it challenging question. Before I begin, I have already covered 21 question in my previous videos, previous 3 videos. So now let's start with question 22. As I told you earlier, I have I have selected approximately 40 questions from the past paper for the sake of revision or to revise the concept of basic concept which students usually forget, and then question seems very tricky to them. So let's see this blog address on the top. If you want to see my previous videos, you can go onto this blog, and there you will find everything very user friendly, the headings, so you can go to the particular video and watch it. So let's start with the next question. Okay, so before I begin the question, I want to give you the description or the explanation of few types of graph, because there's a one particular question which is usually asked in paper 1, is that they give you 5-6 type of graph and 2-3 types of equation, and you have to do match with the correct equation. So let's see here. I have tried to go over all the types of sketches. When equation says a over x, a could be any number. If the number is positive, for example 2 over x, 3 over x, then the shape of the graph is like this. Now this is common sense also. X could be positive or could be negative, right? If x is positive and a is already positive, then positive divided by positive is positive. So value of y will be positive. So you have graph on this side. Similarly, if a is negative, this side, the overall answer will be negative. So your graph will have this shape. So I will not go into detail of each graph. Why I'm explaining this in detail? So on these line, you think and try to understand. So you don't need to cram or learn it by heart. It makes common sense also. So if your equation is a over x and a is negative, so when your x is positive, it means you're talking about this side. Here x is positive and a is negative, then it means overall answer will be negative. So values of y will be negative. It means the graph will be like this. Take a curvy graph. Denominator value is increasing, so overall value will decrease. If your x value is negative, right, a is already negative, so negative will become positive. It means value of y is positive, that's why graph is like this. So if your equation is a over x, the graph has this shape or this shape, depending what is the value of a, plus or minus. Let's see the next graph. It is called exponential graph. Similarly, if it is e power x, the graph will have this shape. E power minus x, the graph will have this shape. So exactly the way I have explained to you up here, okay, x is positive, x is negative. So you can do little investigation. You should have inquisitive mind. You should try to figure out, okay, if I substitute this value, what will be my answer? So check like this and automatically it will make sense to you. Similarly, if you have a over x square, so in the denominator you have x square. So either you take plus or x minus, denominator will always be plus because it is a square. So a square will make x value plus all the time. So if your a is positive, it means value of y is always positive. That's why the graph is this shape. Whereas in this case, if your a is negative, and x square will always be positive because of being a square. So your overall value of y is always negative. That's why the graph has this shape, right? This graph is very much familiar to you because you have done coordinate geometry. Y is equals to mx plus c. We know when the line has this shape, the gradient is positive. When the line has this shape, the gradient has negative value. So we have seen linear, we have seen these 3 types of graph. So let's see more type and then we will go to the question. Okay, so now see, these are 2 quadratic graphs, right? Quadratic is very much familiar to you because you learn its sketching also in class 9. And the name of this graph is parabola, right? They both are minimum value curve, right? Now the question is asked usually, they give you two graphs and give you one equation that y equals to this, and they ask you to match it. Which one is the true value? I mean the true representation of the curve or the equation. So now if you see here, the x value, because it is y equals to, right? So if you see on the x-axis, the values of x are 2 and minus 1, right? Because these factors gives you the value or the roots of the equation. So x equals to 2 and x equals to minus 1. 2 mean this side and minus 1 mean this side. So if you see, minus 1 is the smallest value, so little distance from origin, and 2 is a greater value, so more distance. So it means the sketch of this equation is here. So this is the way you figure it out. If your value of quadratic equation coefficient x square is negative, the graph will have this shape, maximum value. So these are the basic things you must remember all the time, right? I'm repeating. If your value of a is positive, and what is a? The coefficient of x square, then the shape of the graph will be like this. If this is negative, the shape of the graph will be like this. Now this is a cubic curve. So again, if your value of a is positive, the graph will be like this. If the value of a is negative, the graph will have this shape, right? Now how is the question asked? Let's see here. They usually give you a few equations. For example, y is equals to x cube. You see coefficient is plus 1. Y is equals to x minus 1. Y is equals to a over x square, and they tell you what is the value of a, positive, minus, or negative. A over x, y equals to x square. Then they give, out of the sketches which I have shown you, few sketches and say match. So if you will have a concept, you can easily match. So it's an easy question. Practice 1 or 2 times and then you will be able to get it. Okay, so now let's see this question. It is inequality question. And why this question is tricky for students at time, it is also basically a very common sense question. Let's see. The range of x is given to you 2 to 9. Now notice all are positive values. The range of y is from minus 5 to 3. So few negative values, few positive values. And remember, 0 is coming in between. Important thing. The first part of the question says, find out the largest value of x minus y. Now you are doing here subtraction. You are putting the value of x, you are putting the value of y, and question says find the biggest answer. Mostly they do not give both the range positive because for most of the student it's very easy. Now what you have to think about here. You know the largest value will be if we add both the numbers. Now there is a negative sign in between, which at a glance tell you that you have to minus it. But if you see, the y has a negative value here, also negative value. So if I put a negative value here, negative will become positive, right? So that's why to find the largest value, you will take value of 9 from here, the biggest integer, and the smallest integer, which is in terms of negative, will give you 14. So the largest possible answer of this is 14. Now the smallest possible value of this. Now a square mean numbers will become plus, right? So what you will look at the numeral value. Now what do I mean by numeral value if you don't understand? For example, I give you minus 3 and I give you 9. I give you minus 8 and give you 5. So numeral value mean irrespective of sign, forget sign and just look at the digit. So 9 is bigger or 3 is bigger, 8 is bigger or 5 is bigger. So point here is I will look at the numeral value here in the range given to me, because those numeral values will be squared, and question is saying find out the smallest possible answer. So from here 2 square will be 4, 3 square will be 9, 4 square will be 16. So smallest value is 2. So from here I will pick up 2 because the question was saying x plus x square plus y square. So that's why I will pick up 2 from here. Now from here, what is the smallest numeral I have here? Because that value will be squared and then added. So some students think of the smallest value as minus 5. No. You will pick up 0 from here, right? Between minus 5 and 3, there is 0 also. So you will pick up 0 from here and you substitute the value here. So 2 square is 4 and 0 square is 0. So your smallest answer is 4. Now let's see this inequality question. This white region is given to you and the coordinates of these 3 points A, B, C are given to you in the question. Right? I tried to draw, but if it is not drawn very accurately, the points are already given to you in the question. Now the question is saying the unshaded region R inside the triangle ABC is defined by 3 inequalities. And we can see here this line, and this line. So basically the region R is bounded or surrounded by 3 inequalities, right? And question is saying one of the line is given to you here. You have to find out the other 2 inequalities. So I will not go to the next part of the question. So let's see how we will find the other 2 inequalities and how we will find out that out of these 3 lines, which one is representing this inequality. So before going into the detail, let me take you to some previous concept first of coordinate geometry, right? Okay, so we know from coordinate geometry that if line is passing through the point on the x-axis, for example 5, then this line is called x equals to 5. If it is passing through minus 2, we will call it x equals to minus 2. Agreed? And if it is passing through y point on the y-axis, suppose 3, horizontal line, then the name of this equation is y equals to 3, right? Okay. If line is slant like this, then equation will be y is equals to mx plus c, and m will be the gradient of the line. So we can pick up 2 points from the line and find the gradient. We also know from coordinate geometry that if line has this direction, it is plus gradient. If line has this direction, it is minus gradient. If it is horizontal, the gradient is 0. If it is vertical, the gradient is infinite. Okay, so now come to the inequality. Y is equals to mx plus c. This is an equation, right? Coordinate geometry. If you put y greater than mx plus c, in this inequality, now see the 4 conditions rather. If line is like this portion, above portion is called greater. If line has this slant, above region is greater. If it is horizontal, it is greater. If it is vertical line, right hand side region is called greater. So we know that greater region in inequality is above in case of slant, in case of horizontal above, and in case of vertical line right hand side. So if region you have to shade for inequality less than, then below region in case of slant line, below region in case of horizontal line, and left hand side region is called less than. This is actually a conclusion. Otherwise, the other way to figure it out is to put in a point in the equation and then see the values, which is longer method. So these are the quick conclusions basically. So now coming back to the question, this was just to develop the concept which you should know to attempt this question. This equation, this sketch was given to you, right? And question was saying one inequality was given to you. and which was about greater than or equals to 6. So let me see what was the question. It was saying x plus y less than equals to 6. So if I write here, give me a minute. Okay, so I have written the equation here so that I don't have to flip the page. So this equation was given to you in the question, and question was saying find out the other two inequalities. So if I rearrange it, it is y less than equals to minus x plus 6. Now when it is minus x, it means gradient is minus. It means this direction or this direction. Yes, you're right. It is this direction. We have just seen here in the coordinate geometry, when the line has this direction, it has negative gradient. Second thing is plus 6 is coming here, which means y-intercept. So you can see here it is passing through 6. It means the inequality of this line is given to you in the question. So you have to find out the inequality of this line and inequality of this line. Now this line is vertical, so equation is x equals to 2, which I have written here. But what inequality you will use? Because question was saying find out for the region R. So for this line, the region R is on the right hand side. And I just showed you, if it is a vertical line, then right hand side region is greater. So that's why you will write here x greater than and equals to 2. And by the way, why I am writing greater equals to symbol? Because all lines are solid, they are not dotted. If they are dotted, it means point cannot be on the line, and we do not write equals to symbol. So if I had dotted line here, I would have written x greater than 2. So now let's find the equation of this line and then inequality. So I know 2 points on this line. So using those 2 points, I am finding out the gradient, which is half. So now in the equation of the line, I know gradient half. In place of y and x, I am using this point to find out the value of c. So I found the value of c, which is 0. So actually I have crossed out this line, do not get confused. This is my x-axis and the line is passing through the origin. So that's why c is coming 0. Okay, so if question is very clear, you don't even need to do this step to calculate c. It is already given from here. Anyway, so my equation of this line is y equals to half x. Now the region R is above it, and I told you above portion is always represented by greater than symbol. So you will write y greater than equals to half x. This is how you write down all the inequalities of the region. Now let's see the last part, where students usually have forgotten the concept, so leave this part. Okay, so this part of the question is saying, okay, in the region which was represented by R, find out the maximum value for this expression. At times they say find the maximum value, and at times they say find out the minimum value. Calculate the maximum value of this, given that x and y satisfy all three inequalities, mean it is within that region. Okay, so the technique to attempt this question is, you just pick up the 3 vertices rather than trying different points in the region. Pick up the 3 vertices of the region. I mean, if it is covered by 4 lines, there will be 4 vertices. Right now it is covered by 3 lines, so there are 3 vertices. These corners are called vertices. So pick up these 3 points, right, and substitute in the expression. So let's see here. So the expression was x plus 2y, and question was saying find the maximum value. So these were my 3 points a, b, c. I'm substituting these points in the expression. So my x is 4, my y is 2. I substituted, got 8. My x is minus 2, y is minus 1. I substituted, got minus 4. X is minus 2, y is 8. I substituted and got 14. So if question is saying find the maximum value, answer is 14. If question has asked minimum value, answer would be minus 4. So this is how you find out the maximum or minimum value for any particular expression within the region. So thank you very much with this. 19 minutes already passed. So now in my next video I will cover the rest of the question. If you like or you have learned something, please do press like button. Even if this video helped you revise the concept, do press like and subscribe button, and you can press bell button. You will get the indication of my new videos. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz. Take care.